This right here is the best decision I ever made for my fitness when it comes to equipment and gear that I have here in my home. So I have this amazing squat rack in my garage, and it's been a complete game changer for me as someone who doesn't actually like to lift weights. I know that probably sounds like a little bit of a misnomer. I'm known as the strength running guy, but look, I lift weights because it helps me stay healthy and it improves my performances on the thing that I actually really love, which is running. So even though I'm a big proponent of weightlifting for runners, I do it myself. I don't do it because I love it. I do it because it's necessary if we want to achieve our potential in the sport. Now, with that said, in this video, I want to talk about all the different ways that you can get strong without lifting weights. Because at the end of the day, I understand not everyone has the resources or the space or even the willingness to have a home gym or to go to a commercial gym to lift weights. So if that's you, keep watching because we can get strong without lifting a single weight. So we're going to start with the more general ways of building strength, and then we're going to get more specific and talk about specific running workouts that you can do that are going to build strength in a way that is similar to lifting weights. So more generally, we can run a lot of miles to get strong. You know, the runner who can run 80, 90, 100 miles a week demonstrates a certain level of strength. Now, the problem with this strategy is that increasing your mileage is an injury risk, and this is a very long-term proposition. That's why I consider it the most general of all of these strategies. Yes, you are going to get stronger, but it's probably going to take 5 to 10 years as opposed to 6 months to a year of consistent weightlifting to realize a similar breakthrough. But if you can stay very consistent with your mileage increases from season to season, if you can avoid getting a little bit impatient and trying to run more than what you're actually ready for, you're gonna find that over time, you are gradually getting stronger and stronger. Mileage isn't just important for running really fast and developing the endurance we need as endurance runners, it also helps us build strength, which is one of the many reasons why I am such a big proponent of high mileage training. Now, a similar strategy is to work on our speed. We can do hard workouts. We can actually look at our personal bests, and that's a good indication of a runner's level of strength. Let's just imagine that your mile time is 3:58. Wow, you are an elite runner, and you're also clearly very strong, a runner who can maintain that intensity of muscle contractions over the course of 4 minutes, over the course of a mile, is very strong. Now, most of us aren't 3:58 milers, but the principle stands that the faster you are, the stronger you likely are. And so we can use a lot of these principles to our advantage in training by simply training to become the fastest runner that we can be. So you can run strides, you can run any kind of speed development workout. You can also run workouts where you are running very quickly. You are running your mile race pace. You might be running 95% of your maximum speed. All of these workouts over time help build strength. One of my favorite ways to build strength, which is a little bit counterintuitive, is to use some of these training tools that I have over there, like a bike, and use cross-training to build strength in areas that we typically don't get when we're running. So if you've ever gotten on a road bike and spent a lot of time cycling and spending time building a little bit of power on the bike, putting some power into those pedals, you know that cycling does build strength in a different way than we get from running. And so if you are someone who doesn't want to lift weights, but you do want to get stronger, cross-training can really help. Now, I don't think swimming or pool running are going to provide these kinds of benefits, but cycling, the elliptical, and even using a stair climber definitely can. You're going to be using the same muscles that you use for running in a slightly different way. And because cycling is such a power-oriented sport, a little bit different than running, we are going to have some wonderful crossover benefits to our power output and our running economy. So if you're sleeping a little bit on some cross training, it can be a really valuable way of building what I like to call three-dimensional fitness. You're not just running, you're not just focusing on going straight ahead and trying to run in a straight line as fast as you can. You're building some more of this three-dimensional fitness. You're getting on the bike, you're using muscles in ways that are different from running, and that over time does help you get stronger.
Look at this. This is beautiful Boulder, Colorado, and I want to run with you here in Boulder at Boulderthon this fall on September 28th. Thank you, Boulderthon, for supporting the channel. You can go to boulderthon.org and use code STRENGTH20 to save $20 on the half marathon or the marathon. Come out here and run a Boulderthon race. They've got a 5K, 10K, half marathon, and marathon. The marathon is a USA Track and Field sanctioned event. It is BQ eligible, and you're going to be able to run in the shadows of the foothills on the historic streets of Boulder with an epic finish on Pearl Street. I think you're going to love it. So go to boulderthon.org, use code STRENGTH20 to save yourself $20 on the half or the marathon, and let's enjoy all that running has to offer.
All right, let's talk about some of those workouts, because here is where we can do the most. Here's where we can gain the most amount of strength, not just by running a lot, not just by gradually improving upon our personal bests and getting access to the kind of speed that we need to build strength, but let's actually run workouts that help build strength as well. So I already talked about fast workouts. Speed is related to strength, and so if we can run very fast, we will be gaining some of the elements of strength, but certain workouts are better than others. And when it comes to building strength, there's nothing better than using hills to our advantage. Now, there's a lot of different types of hill workouts that you can run. Let's start with some of the more general and go to specific. We can do long hill repetitions at, say, our 10K race pace or slower, maybe a threshold or half marathon race effort. And these are hills that typically are going to be 3 to 5 minutes long. These are long climbs, and workouts like this are going to help develop strength, but likely not as much as running shorter, faster hills. I personally love 1 minute to 90-second hills. This is like a bread and butter hill workout for a lot of distance runners where we are running fast, likely 5K race pace on the fast end. Maybe we're getting a little bit faster, but somewhere in the 5K to 10K race pace. And the key here, especially if you're looking at only a 1 minute hill repetition, is to try to find a steep hill. Let's try to find a hill that's a little bit steeper than, say, 5 or 6%. Let's go up to 8, 9, 10% of a grade. And that grade, by working against gravity, by running fast up that hill, is really going to build very running specific strength. Hills are a mainstay in cross-country runners programs for a reason. Not only are they training for the course, but they're training to be very strong runners capable of handling the varied terrain of a cross-country course. Now, some of my favorite hill workouts aren't technically workouts at all. They're more like strides, and these are hill sprints. Now, hill sprints are a very particular, specific type of hill session that you can do where you're gonna go find the steepest hill that you can find, and you're gonna run a paltry 8 to 10 seconds up that hill as fast as you can. And what we're trying to do with a hill sprint is recruit the maximum number of muscle fibers possible. We are trying to go as fast as possible, 100% effort up a very steep hill, but only for a very, very brief period of time. You're not gonna feel out of breath. In fact, these sessions are so quick, they're not even considered anaerobic workouts. They're too short to be anaerobic. They really rely on the lactic energy system to provide the energy for these very, very quick, short, fast repetitions. Now, the key here is to take full recovery in between each hill sprint. You don't want to go right back into it. This is not a hard breathing workout. This is much like a sprinter's workout, or even, a power lifter workout in the gym. You want to give yourself a lot of recovery so that you can come back and run each one of those repetitions at maximum speed. And the benefit here are I was gonna say multiple. Yes, there's a lot of different benefits here. Yes, we are recruiting a lot of muscle fibers, which I might add is exactly what we do when we lift weights. The heavier weight you lift, the more of your muscle that you have to use to lift that weight. And so this is improving that brain-muscle communication pathway, that neuromuscular fitness. But it's also developing strength, it's developing power, it's developing speed. And because it's much like strength training, you get a wonderful injury prevention benefit from hill sprints. So I think hill sprints are incredible for a variety of reasons, especially if you're a master's athlete who maybe can't train as much because of life, because of age, whatever it might be. You want your training to really have a big bang for your buck. Hill sprints provide that stimulus because they work on so many different things at the same time, including helping you get a lot stronger. So guys, I know I talk all the time about the value of strength training. There really is nothing that replaces it. So I don't want you to get the idea that you can just forego strength training entirely. These are strategies for those people who may not be able to strength train for a certain period of time, or who just can't get into the gym as regularly as they would like. So if that's you, please use as many of these strategies as possible, but let's understand that the best strategy is to kind of do all of them. Yes, you want to do hard workouts. You also want to try to run as much as you safely can. You want to do some cross training like cycling. That's probably very smart, as well as lifting weights in a gym, whether it's in your home or at a commercial gym that you're a member of. These are all the ingredients to a healthy training soup. One ingredient isn't going to make or break the soup, but for the best kind of soup possible, you want all of those ingredients. And this analogy holds a lot of sway for me because it really makes the point that everything matters. You can't just take out an ingredient of training like long runs or workouts or strength training or any kind of speed work and expect to reach your potential as a runner. So yes, we can get a lot stronger with some of these strategies, and I hope you do, but let's be very clear-eyed about the value of strength training. It's incredible.